back with probably not the last episode because we're gonna do one more, but the second to last episode of the World Cup special. And boy, oh boy, that sure was an exciting third place game. We all watched it from start to finish. It was invigorating. All the soccer was had. There was so much football, I couldn't believe it.
Fuck Belgium.
Nobody watched that game. At least nobody in this podcast watched this game.
Nope.
But what'd you say?
Nope. Not interested. Too early.
Yeah. Especially on the West Coast, there was no way on earth I was waking up at 7 a.m. to see two teams who aren't playing in the game that they actually want to play in.
I cleaned the kitchen and took out the trash instead of watching the game.
Pedro, you got to play the game. Congratulations. Yeah. You get to go on the stage and get that like third place medal that nobody wants.
That's the equivalent of Route 1 football of house chores. Like taking out the trash and
more or less.
The kitchen. Like just right to the part that's important.
Exactly. Don't even waste time. So, by the way, welcome to That One Podcast. We'll get all the particulars out of the way and we'll get started because we got a lot of football to cover, actually.
We do.
So, first thing first, on Twitter and Instagram, at That One Pod. Email us podthat@gmail.com. Check out the main show page at shows.pippa, that's PIPPA, /That One Podcast. All right, so it's actually been a minute since we've done this, and I kind of don't remember where we left off for the show. We hadn't gotten to the round of 16 yet, right? We were still in the group stage, or had we just started?
Ducky, did you and I do one without Mars right before the round of 16?
I think
I don't remember.
I think we did one without Mars right before.
That's right, right before the round of 16.
Yeah.
So
we got so the round of 16 actually. They were actually some pretty good fucking games. This tournament has been exciting, engaging, and this is probably the first tournament in a long time where I haven't seen a slew of 4-0 victories, and it makes it a much, much easier watch. So I thought it was good, but I was also looking at the official World Cup bracket versus my predictions, and
it's not your fault.
Yeah.
Like that we had people who shouldn't have gone out go out. It was crazy.
Yeah. And we had some teams that went much farther than they should have that led to some really exciting and really good football. So
right. Can we take that exact idea? Because I've been waiting to hear from Mars about how she's felt and like the probably joy and pride that she feels from how the Russian team did.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, can we just start there, Mars?
Yeah. Can
I just get full on? Because since we didn't talk to you after the round of 16, we actually haven't talked on the podcast with you about how you feel about this, about the actual Russian team. Because you actually had more confidence than any other one I've talked to. And I've got friends in St. Petersburg now. And I was talking to Dimitri, and he's like, man, I don't feel good about this. And you were actually feeling good before. You actually picked them to advance and stuff. So let's get like the Mars take on how Russia did.
Well, so essentially what Russia does, right, is fuck up every tournament they're in and change the coach after each one.
Mm-hmm.
So this new coach kind of had a super methodical, like very physical, prep heavy approach to all of this. So he literally exhausted the team and spent a lot of time with them and took them all off social media to like distract from the buzz. So all of this like success that they've had in this tournament, it's not a fluke. They've literally done the work, actually bonded, understood the gravity of the moment, and therefore were able to deliver. And another thing that this coach did is he didn't really let like players with difficult personalities, like previously, like Duba, number 10, who was like the heart and soul of this team. He was like left out of the national team for years because he talks a lot of shit and has talked shit about previous coaches.
Right.
And he actually ended up being the emotional leader of this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was so good.
Awesome.
But he's one of those, and every sport has those players whose mouth is like faster than their legs, and
Yeah.
it just gets in the way of their success. So I felt amazing about it. I was really proud. I think that the physical preparation paid off, but also what paid off is they knew exactly who they were. Like the way they played with Spain, like they knew they weren't fucking beating Spain by playing an open game with them,
Mm-hmm.
So they just shut them down. They had like 10% of the possession or something ridiculous. So it's strategically sound. They're well prepared. They're on the emotional level. They're very motivated. It felt great to see them go that far. And I was pretty bummed when they lost to Croatia because that was a toss-up too. Like that could have gone either way.
Yeah, I know. It was and like the way they played, where they played very like they knew Spain was going to dominate possession, so they had a game plan against Spain. But they actually, against Croatia, they did a lot more creative attacking. They were creating chances. Like I expected them to go against Croatia like they did against Spain, where it's like let them have possession. We'll go ahead and just defend and not give them great chances, just give them low quality chances, but a lot of them, right? And then against Croatia, they were like, no, we're actually going to go. And I did not expect, I was genuinely surprised and really enjoyed like that they could turn around after a game like that against Spain, where you went to extra time and all that, and PKs, and you did it defensively, to not say, let's keep the same game plan together, let's keep this going. They actually went a little more offensive, and they were still able to
they completely
take a really good team. Yeah.
They completely changed the scheme for Croatia, and like Croatia prepared for 4 defenders, which is what we played against Spain. That is not what we played against them at all, and that was apparently also like well strategized by the coach way prior.
Yeah. Yeah. I the one thing I will say too is when you have host countries playing in tournaments like this, a lot of times you sort of get a better result than expected because the fans are sort of behind them, and it gives them that emotional boost that they normally may not have. But this actually was a little bit of the opposite, because in a lot of their games, they were playing in stadiums that didn't necessarily have a large turnout like they sort of wanted, and like I forget which stadium it was, but I remember there was a game. I think it was the stadium where they play Croatia.
Was that in Sochi? I think that was in Sochi.
Yeah, that was in Sochi, and in that stadium, like there was an overwhelming differential in Croatian fans to Russian fans. And when you're the host country, like that has to be so fucking frustrating, because it's like, what more can we do to give ourselves an advantage? And to be fair, like, I mean, obviously that stuff, it only plays a certain type of factor into it, but still, it's a lot of people expect them to get that emotional boost, but they did it for themselves, and you can see them sort of cheering each other on, and the coaching staff sort of motivating them in the right way. There was very little bickering amongst the team, and to be fair, they sort of needed that sort of chemistry to put them in the position that they ultimately ended up getting in. And they played very good, very interesting, very entertaining football. And again, it was sort of like, and even the fucking, like, even when they went to penalties, like they still were tactically trying out different combinations to sort of confuse the opposition. And you could tell that there was a lot of thought put into everything they did versus just a team like, say, I don't know, Colombia, who just goes, oh, we're better, and we should just beat them, and then they end up shitting the bed.
Well, and the thing is that they knew how to play both ways, where there were a few, and we can get into it a bit later, there are a few managers given credit for playing a wonderful counter-attacking or wonderful defensive style, when really it was the shots didn't go in and there were a bunch of good chances, where like Russia actually played in a way where they limited good chances when they played against a team that they knew, look, technically and being able to pass and stuff, we can't play with them. And if we force them, we're going to give up great chances. So let's all as a team defend this way and keep them from getting shots, but let them have the ball in non-dangerous areas and let them have the ball. That's fine. If they want to keep it there, go for it, right? Like they did against Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of managers on teams where they just happen to win 2-1 or 1-0 or whatever, and they're like, oh, they played a great defensive game plan. No, they didn't. Like, luck just went their way, right? And sometimes managers get credit for that when it really didn't happen, but the Russian team actually executed a plan that kept, like, Spain from having good... I was so impressed with that Spain game from them. And Spain, like, can get overpassy or whatever and not create chances, but they've won multiple World Cups, or one World Cup. And
Euros and all kinds.
Euros playing like that, and other teams try to execute a game plan like that, and Russia actually did. It's not like, oh, they hit 6 posts and they missed. No, they kept them from having good chances. Like, that's how you execute a game plan like that, right? And because soccer is so results-based because a goal means so much that sometimes teams get credit for doing that when they really didn't. But Russia absolutely executed a wonderful game plan like that. I was very, very impressed with them.
It's been crazy to see the media reaction to it, too, because the media reaction is usually when we don't do well, which is always, except for this World Cup, is just, shit on.
Are you talking the Russian media reaction?
Yeah, the Russian media reaction.
Yeah.
And the fans. Like, the reaction was thank you, and we're proud. Like, that has not happened since, like, Soviet times. And it just, I'm like, am I really reading what I'm reading?
Yeah.
But moreover, like, what I'm really excited about, and I hope what will come of this, is, like, more Russian players playing abroad.
Yeah.
Because you saw, like, the number 6, Cheryshev, the one that scored that incredible goal against Croatia, the first one.
Yeah. That was dope.
He, like, grew up and played in Spain his entire life.
Right.
And you can really see the difference in talent and seizing the moment. And I think that the more young players of ours go abroad, the better the team will be, obviously.
Right.
And so having them go that far will allow people to, see that there actually is talent.
Well, hell, the 2 players they got, the 2 goal scorers in the Croatia game, are both technically from abroad. You have Mario Fernandez, who's Brazilian, and Cheryshev, who essentially played in Spanish. So it's. Right. And the talent level of the players that already were there weren't so subpar that like they had to carry the team or anything like that. But you can tell if those guys had a little bit more experience playing against a different style of opponent than they're normally accustomed to, then maybe they don't expose themselves defensively a little bit this way, or maybe they know to attack a little bit differently. And it really was sort of a handicap, and that's what was so impressive about them getting as far as they did, because a lot of times for countries like that where they don't really have players that play abroad, they become really one-dimensional, and they managed to avoid that, which I thought was really impressive. But just if they can give themselves a little bit more advantage by playing outside of the country, then I think that they're going to be nothing but benefits for the team as a whole.
I mean, there's talk that Golovin kid's going to play somewhere.
Oh, yeah. That Golovin kid is real good. Yeah, he's super young yet still.
He's going to play somewhere.
I think he had like the highest mileage per game in the whole cup.
Yeah, he was. I mean, I don't ever remember them subbing him out, and they played 2 extra time games, and I don't think they subbed him out. And I think he played all 3 of the group stage games. So
yeah, like sort of outside of that too. I think as hosts, Russia's done really well, and like maybe that's homery of me to say, but like
no,
team treated other teams.
Yeah, you hear in other World Cups like when there's like, oh, this little weird thing happened, or like like I haven't heard any weird stories about people in Russia saying, oh, I had this bad experience or something. Everything's been really positive.
Yeah. I think I heard one story of an international reporter being robbed, but they not only recovered...
There's a lot more of those in Brazil, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I know, right? But again, it was one story. They recovered the stolen whatever, and
Yeah.
they arrested the suspect who
Oh,
did it,
okay.
and it wasn't a bullshit arrest. The reporter was able to ID them and say, yes, that is the exact person who did it. So I think that it worked out. I think this has been a dream World Cup for Russia. In fact, I was actually talking to somebody because after the penalties, like everybody was like, "Oh, they're probably gonna kill that guy because and send death threats to that guy that missed that penalty." I'm like, "No, it's probably gonna be the exact opposite. They didn't expect to be in that position, and the way that those fans looked even after the game, they looked so appreciative of the effort that they put in and the work rate that they did. The one thing you can't say about Russia losing in that Croatia game is, oh, they lost because they quit.
Yeah.
Like
Nothing like that.
Exactly. Their goalkeeper came up with some key saves. Their defense came up with some key stops, and they scored probably one of the best goals of the tournament in that game. Like I mean, I don't really understand what else they could have done other than, maybe a shot goes a little bit to the left or the right, and then
penalties have a lot of luck. I mean, there's a lot of. I don't think anyone that went in those PKs, at least that I remember from the Russian PKs, weren't like at least confident. I put it in a spot. If the goalie guesses right, okay. But like, there weren't any like. You look in their eyes and they didn't really want to take it and they skied it over the bar or something, right? It was just like, you know what? Sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that's how penalties are. Now, there are the ones where you see, like, in their eyes they're going to, like, oh, he's not ready for that. And then they, like, mishit it, right? Or they hit it over, or they miss, and it's just like, I think every one of them was a decent enough PK. That's all you can really ask for with that much pressure. And after you've been running for 120 minutes.
Yeah, I guess the one problem I have is the forward, Smolov, number 9, I think he is.
Yeah.
He didn't play the whole game. I'm not sure why he took a PK.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who missed it, and that's actually people were criticizing that. But just that as a decision
that he was put up to take one?
PK. Right.
Yeah.
Because he's not the one who put the team in that spot, and he's the one who missed. Because
but at that point, didn't they sub out? They subbed out.
Yeah, when Mario missed, people were like, Mario's the reason we got to those PKs.
Right.
No Mario slander will ever be tolerated.
Right.
But the other dude who just sat on the bench all game and then came out and his hit was dumb. It was dumb. Like, he tried to use some technique he saw on TV somewhere, and it was just super odd.
Wait, he didn't do a Panenka, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yeah, that's tough, man. You got to hit a Panenka straight, because he pulled the Panenka, so then it ended up being where the goalie was. Yeah.
Right, and it's just
that's true.
That's not the moment.
His wasn't great.
Yeah, his was bad.
Yeah, but they'd taken out Cheryshev at that point. Like, I don't know how many other good PK takers were available. And he's a striker. Like, you expect him to, like, be able to hit the ball well in a PK,
Mm-hmm. Right, and they're like, the team put themselves in this position, and your dumbass is just showing off over here,
I did forget that he tried a Panenka,
Stupid.
Oh, and by the way, I looked up Golovin. Just to see like where the talks are, and of course it's the usual suspects. You got Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, even fucking
the World Cup bump is a real thing.
Even fucking Juventus now.
Yeah, there's a couple, like, there's always a few players from tournament that are young and they impress in the World Cup, and then all of a sudden, like, their price goes up by triple. Like
James' last World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Like James' last World Cup.
Yep.
Which I'm not comparing Golovin to James by any means.
No, he's got a ways to go, yeah. But speaking of James, I felt bad for him that he kept getting hurt, because the games he did play, he was brilliant.
Yeah, he was.
He was brilliant, man. I felt bad for him that he couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah, I felt bad for Cavani, too.
Cavani getting hurt was bad, too.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a fan of the fact that the Final Four were all European. I was really hoping to see some other continents in there as well, but it's been a really good tourney, though. It
is. It's been, the games are good.
So let's do this. I want to recap our brackets just to see like how everyone did, and we can just go round of 16 first, because from the round of 16, I was looking at it and I didn't do too bad. So just to recap, this is who I had coming out of the bracket. I had Uruguay and Iran, France and Nigeria, which actually it could have been Nigeria. things were a little different. Brazil and Mexico, Belgium and Poland, Portugal and Egypt, Argentina and Denmark, Germany and Costa Rica, and Colombia and England. Of my bracket, only 4 of those teams? Iran, Nigeria, Poland, Egypt, Costa Rica. 5. 5 of those teams didn't make it.
Yeah, I got all but 3. I guessed Egypt over Russia. I had Germany winning the group like everyone else did.
Yeah.
And then I had Senegal over Japan and Poland. And other than that, I got all the round of 16.
Germany was the epic failure of this tournament.
Yes.
Dude.
Yes.
The epic. And it felt incredible, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
It was a spiritual experience. I was a fan of that. And the way Korea played, my God.
I know, right?
How much fucking heart and grit can you generate? Jesus. Just unbelievable. Like, I have never cared for Korea in soccer before, but now I was wowed by that.
They looked like it was kind of sad because like I saw them playing and this is I was sort of saying this when we were speaking about it in the first episode about how that's the Korea team I expected to see at the tournament, but at the same time they couldn't ramp it up until that last game. But holy shit, they looked really good against Germany.
Yeah, when they ramped it up, there was just like 11 beating hearts on that field when the game was over. I mean, it was unbelievable.
It was fucking.
Who else was impressive? I think was it the Denmark goalie?
Yeah, he was.
He was impressive in that. That was like an emotional thing because like his dad is watching, and he saved the PK, and his dad was a great goalie, and he's a good goalie. And
he was unbelievable.
He stopped the Modric PK in extra time. He stopped it so well, he caught the damn thing.
I know, right?
They still ended up losing in PKs, but he was brilliant. Yeah, I think that was like a cool emotional moment.
Yeah, I as far as like impressive, I'm gonna actually go a little bit opposite and talk about heartbreaks. The most heartbreaking game for me was that Belgium-Japan game. Japan played their fucking asses off, and to give up that goal in extra time, literally seconds before the whistle was going to blow. I didn't even expect Japan to win. And it wasn't even like I was rooting for Japan. This was I told Pedro this. It was kind of nice, believe it or not having a United States in, because then I could just sit and just watch and enjoy and not be concerned about who's going where and all that shit. I just watched and I just was rooting for good soccer. And that game at the start, and the first half was pretty good. The second half is clearly where all the action was. But it when it started off with Japan's with those 2 quick successive goals, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. But and I knew Belgium wasn't going to go scoreless in that game. There's no way that they weren't going to score. But I would have rather have
but the goals they scored, like the first one Vertonghen scored, he's clearly trying to cross it back on a header, and it ends up being like a picture perfect upper 90 from like the side header. It was basically a chip with the head, right?
Yeah.
That was both an impressive goal and like, man, that's so fucking lucky. I felt bad for Japan because he wasn't even trying to shoot.
No.
You know? No. And I felt bad for him because but then when they started crossing everything in, the height difference was just too much.
Well, that's where Fellaini came in, you know.
Dude, yeah.
But you could just like I'll never forget. I don't even remember which player it was on Japan, but he's just like pounding the ground after the whistle blows because they know they sort of missed out on opportunity. And even on top of that, the fans fucking cleaning the stadium after the game. And
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So after every game Japan played in, the fans they literally went row by row and cleaned up the garbage in the stadium.
Wow.
And the
Cameroon
players
did that too, actually.
Who did?
Cameroon.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the Japanese players, after losing that gut-wrenching game, cleaned up their locker room and left a fucking thank you note.
I remember that about the team doing that. Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. So, Japan, good
That's
on
class.
you. Like you guys deserve to advance, but that's just how soccer works,
That's how it
unfortunately.
goes.
So basically, Asia made us fall in love with them this tournament.
Yeah.
That's our takeaway. The most heartbreaking thing I saw the whole tournament was a coked up, insane Maradona watching his Mets of a team.
Holy shit! Okay, so first of all, he went from like begging to the soccer gods for a goal to flicking off everyone in the stadium to
using some very easy to read unsavory language. Didn't take a professional lip reader to see what he was saying. For those
you don't even have to speak the language he's speaking.
Yeah, even if you didn't know what the word meant, you knew what it felt like.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But if you know what that word means, that's really not something you want to catch a great person yelling. Although it's Maradona, so we all know he's a little.
Yeah.
His head isn't on straight.
He needs a rehab, not a camera on him.
I think he switched drugs between games too, because I think he went from like uppers to downers, and I think he's just popping in, like going up and down during the game with whatever drugs the last one he took, because he could barely stand at any point. They took him to the hospital after the game because his heart rate was so low.
Yeah, he clearly missed like sedatives with alcohol.
And if that isn't a microcosm for how poorly Argentina picks their coaches, he was a coach for one of the World Cups where they had Messi, and you wonder why they wasted Messi's entire career.
Yep.
And they went far with him.
They did. And
it had nothing to do with him being good at being a manager, because he was probably doing that shit in the locker room.
Exactly. They're probably like, we need to play good because I don't want him to lose his shit again.
Yeah, my Argentine friend was talking to me about how embarrassed everyone is.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
So Mars, how did your bracket look? Do you still have your bracket?
I think it looked pretty good. I don't have it pulled up, but I had Russia coming out.
Yeah,
I was wrong on Iceland. They really got screwed on one game and then just never fought back.
They lost.
The margin for error is so small.
Yeah, if you don't start off right, these first games, we don't ascribe a lot of meaning to them, but they really set up everything,
Yeah. But that was the thing, right? Like a lot of the way that this ended up working out, the margin for error was huge. Okay, so just to recall how the group stage ended. You got Japan getting out of the group for Senegal on fucking fair play points, right? Which is insane. Yeah. Belgium and England could have done that, but at the same time, Belgium ended up winning that game. But I still contest that it wasn't a good idea for Belgium to win that game, because they ended up going to the much harder side of the bracket, and they beat Brazil. Much to the consternation of Pedro. But then they end up losing to France.
We can get into that a little later.
Yeah. Oh, we will. But then you have Mexico and Sweden, they tied, and Mexico had to start their round of 16 game, because Mexico ended up getting the second spot out of the group, and because of that, they had to play Brazil. The margin of error in this tournament was so nominal. And even Argentina, they barely got out of the group, and they only did because Nigeria was 1 point behind. And I still contest that the way Argentina played, I would have much rather have seen Nigeria playing over Argentina, because as an Argentine fan myself, I'd rather not have watched that. They wasted Messi's career and on the international level with just subpar tactics. They fucking outcoached themselves, and it's really disappointing, because I just wanted to see Messi play. That's all I wanted to see, and they wouldn't give it to me. And they just kept playing these really, really weird combinations, and they acted like Aguero and Messi couldn't be on the field, but they're the two best goal scorers you have outside of Higuain, so just put them on. But anyway, they
didn't even try to play Dybala and Messi together.
No.
Dybala out here before Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be running the show now. Basically runs the show for Juventus.
Yeah. So it's the
It's
margin.
absolutely bizarre. You had 4 years, and you couldn't pick a coach, and you couldn't pick a
Yeah.
scheme, and I don't even know.
There are
Like,
a lot of red flags coming into the
Mm-hmm.
tournament with them.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the round of 16 games, there wasn't a single game that wasn't entertaining
Yep.
out of
They're
that
all good.
stage. I will go back and say exactly what I said before. I know, Mars, you were talking up Mexico. They were who we thought they were. I told you they were a charlatan. I told you they weren't good, and I told you they were terrible. And I still stand by. I stand by that. Mexico was trash. They played they played better than I expected them to, but they weren't good. And I don't care what anybody says. And this isn't me being, oh, you're from the United States, just like Mexico. No, if I'm tired of people talking about Mexico like they're in the ilk of Brazil and France and Germany. No, you're not that good. You're not that good. You're better than the United States, but we're trash too. We didn't even get to go to the tournament. They should have been at home with us. I rather would have seen South Korea playing than Mexico, because that Mexican team losing the way they did to Brazil, it wasn't even like, oh man, Brazil just overwhelmed them and there was nothing they could do. They just didn't play good at all. So no, trash. Mexico. Said it.
Their game looks closer because their goalie's legit.
Yeah. Oh, he's really good.
Goalie's really legit.
He's really good. But like they had no attacking presence, and it felt at a certain point it felt like Brazil was putting on an exhibition, right? Like,
and I get that they're I don't. I get that people not named Mexico would get upset about the diving and the drama and the holding the hand up like someone shot me with a machine gun in the ankle and shit.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear that shit coming from Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the one country that I'm just like, no, or not one. There's just about every South American country, Italy, Mexico.
Yeah.
Those groups of countries are not allowed.
Canito's any good? Like, he has never been any good.
He is a decent poacher. He's good for Mexico. I mean, he's good for Mexico. Like he was good at Manchester United.
But you got to remember, he didn't
poking in goals.
I forget which tournament it was. There's like, was it? It wasn't the. I don't know if it was the last tournament or the tournament before. They didn't even play him. Like they could have played him and they chose not to, and didn't even put him on the team.
He's just okay. I mean,
he's okay.
They've got some. That Lozano kid's actually good.
Yeah.
That guy's actually good. Ochoa's legitimately good, and they can't play versus power teams, but they can play versus finesse teams. And then Germany came out with a game plan of we're going to play all slow defenders, and then overcommit on the attack, and give up really bad counterattacks. Like that loss was, and they just didn't finish chances, but Germany didn't. So I mean Mexico was Mexico. They scored a goal against Germany, and Germany missed a bunch of chances, and then when they played against a team that was organized and they couldn't counterattack against in Sweden. In Sweden beat the hell out of them, right? So, yeah.
So
they couldn't, and they couldn't play with Brazil like that. That game wasn't really that close.
If everybody wants to know how I feel about Mexico, what I want you to do is go on YouTube and Google Jamal Smith whack. And that will just let you know how I feel about the Mexican team. And again, it's not that I have a particular grudge against Mexico. I just get really agitated when I hear teams are supposed to be good. Like this England team, at first I thought I was going to feel like that about them this tournament, but then they ended up getting pretty far, and they ended up dropping out before they made it to the finals, and I'm actually fine with that. I think that's exactly where they should have been. They were okay, but they weren't they were sitting there singing about football coming home. I'm like, no, you're going home. You're not. I don't think you're going to get to the finals. And sure enough, they didn't. But they at least gave you some results to back it up, But yeah, I just think that it just was agitating for me, and maybe it's just because of where I source, new soccer from, and I get a wide swath. I go mainstream. I go those weird one-off websites, and also too, it was kind of agitating for me when I'm seeing promos for soccer coming on Fox, and they're like the home for Mexican soccer. I'm like, no,
it's because more people in the U.S. watch the Mexican national team than the U.S.
Oh, I'm very well. Well, first of all, ain't nobody watching the U.S. national team in the
well,
in this
not
World
right now,
Cup,
yeah.
so.
But I'm just saying,
there ain't nothing to see. So
yeah, there ain't nothing to see. But
but also Americans
I
can't
can't
find
blame
most
them.
countries on the map, but they can find Mexico because they go to Cancun. So that's why.
It's true.
So it's just skewed coverage. Let's not shit on this team anymore.
Yeah,
they're already home crying and died there and back to black. It's fine.
But that's why I want to talk shit about them, because they got just as many victories in the knockout round as the U.S. did, and I just wanted to talk about it. So, all right. So, next round we got the quarterfinals. So quarterfinals. I know we have Pedro. We have to talk.
No, I want to talk about it.
Okay.
It's gonna get really bad.
I just want to say how my bracket did here. My top part of the bracket was exactly on point. I had Uruguay and France, and Brazil and Belgium. My bottom half of the bracket, not so much. I had Portugal and Argentina, Germany and Colombia, and yeah, it didn't quite work out like that. So Pedro? I'm just gonna be quiet and let you start.
I had 5 of the 8. I actually had Portugal beating Uruguay, so I missed that group.
No.
That grouping. But I had Croatia in there, and I had Germany and England. So basically, I had Croatia, England, Belgium, Brazil, and France in their proper places. Yeah. So 5 of the 8,
which is reasonable. So all right,
not brilliant.
No, that's I'll take it. So let me just give it. I'm just gonna hand it off to you. Talk about what game do you want to talk about in the quarterfinals first, Pedro? I'm very.
How long do you want to spend on the quarterfinal? Do you want to let's just get the other games out of the way first? Can we talk about the other quarterfinal games first, and then we can come back to?
Well, we got two
the
games
agony. So we've got Russia. I mean, we've talked a lot about Russia and Croatia already, right?
Yeah,
so we talked about that quite a bit, right? It was a great game. Both teams really trying to go for it to win the entire game.
Yeah.
And the PKs were dramatic. And it's like, it wasn't Modric the only one that missed one for Croatia, which is crazy. Yeah. He's the only one that missed one for Croatia. And then England beat Sweden 2-0 because that side of the bracket was garbage. So, England didn't even have to play nobody. Like, they got to play Colombia without James, and then they got to play fucking Sweden. Sometimes a team gets an easy track to the semifinals, and it was England.
But to be fair, England didn't look all that convincing against Sweden, right?
Yeah, but I never felt Sweden had any great chances. I felt like they were hanging on, and England was gonna win 1-0 or 2-0.
But England looked like if they were gonna lose, it's gonna be. England looked like if they were going to lose because they were going to try to push too hard and fuck up and then give up a goal. But they ended up realizing, oh, wait, we're winning. Let's just stop.
All I'm saying is, France had to play Argentina and the winner of Portugal, Uruguay, and then the winner of Brazil, Belgium. And England had... we lost Mars.
All right, so Mars is having technical difficulties, so we're just going to keep going on. If she ends up getting it figured out, she'll hop back on, but we'll continue without her. But... yeah. The Croatia Russian game. We talked about that ad nauseum. It was a good game.
Yeah. We're just about to get into.
I do want to talk about. France.
Talk about France, Uruguay.
France, Uruguay.
That's fine.
The one thing that has frustrated me about a lot of these games, in the knockout round is a team losing to a team and then basically just there's one thing to fight harder to try to manufacture a victory. And there's a whole other thing than to just be dirty as shit. Colombia did that against
England.
Absolutely
did that, yeah.
And Uruguay did that against France.
Yeah.
And
once it was 2-0.
Yeah, and I was happy as shit that France beat them because I was like, if this is how you're gonna play, I don't want you to advance, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather see entertaining soccer than see you benefit from it. So I actually was enjoying watching Uruguay play up until that point. Wasn't Cavani injured for that game?
Cavani didn't play, but like the game was in doubt before it was a bad play by the Uruguay keeper, right? When he missed that shot that was right at him from Griezmann, but it was a dead-on knuckle shot, and that shit was moving, and he just over-moved his hands instead of I read some like actual goalkeepers talking about it. And they said like your hands have to be quiet right up until it's close to you, then you punch out. And he did some weird like put his hand out and did like a full like half moon swing over trying to knock it down, and his hands were moving all over the place, and he missed it. And I felt bad for him, but up until that point, because that goal was like that's not really an earned goal; it's just a lucky goal. He didn't like put it in the corner or nothing. The game was decided basically that both teams played moderately conservative, keeping chances away. Mm-hmm. France had a header off of a free kick inside the danger area that they headed and went in, right?
Yeah.
Uruguay had the exact same chance, but Hugo Lloris, who's having like low key a brilliant tournament,
right,
made the save. Like that ball was headed down into the corner, and he is full on stretch and stops it, and then Godin tries to hit the rebound, and it went over the goal. And those are the difference in the game being 1-0 France or 1-0 Uruguay, right? France had a header, basically the same thing. They put it in. Uruguay has similar quality of shot, but Lloris is the difference. Lloris came in and made that one save, and then the Uruguay goalie let in a howler after that. Yeah. But like that game up until that point was really close, and Uruguay and France both, they were both playing like moderately conservative. France is obviously more dangerous, but they didn't want to give up chances. And then Uruguay was, they only had Suarez, right? Mm-hmm. So they were doing the best they could. But
by the way,
up until that point, they were fine. Didn't bite anybody, so success.
Suarez was a model citizen this World Cup. I was a little bit concerned, for lack of a better term, about how he would ultimately behave this tournament. But to be fair, since getting Coutinho out there, he's been just happy as a clam, right? Like he's been behaving. He's been playing really good soccer.
Yeah, he's really good.
And he actually played pretty well. He only ended up with 2 goals this tournament.
Yeah, but that assist on the goal he and Cavani had together in the Portugal game, where basically Cavani hit a 40-yard cross ball to him. He takes 2 touches and then Cavani's running to the back post and he hits another 50-yard cross to him, and it hits him right in his head. And there's those 2 strikers are basically that whole team. If you're wondering how, just like that, they split the field. One across the other side diagonal, he hits it back to Cavani. Cavani heads it in. It was a beauty.
Yeah,
beauty team goal. Yeah,
he played really well, and it really frustrated me to see the Uruguayan side sort of take away from that, and because in all honesty, what people are going to remember is, oh yeah, those guys played dirty that game,
Yeah.
But again, it's still up until that point, it was still a pretty entertaining game.
It was.
Even though it was very on. It felt like everybody was on edge.
It was a very defensive game, but they were close.
Yeah. But yeah. So all right, now we can talk about
the fraudulent fucking bullshit ass goddamn Belgium team game. Damn. Okay. So little background. I am Brazilian. I'm very and in this World Cup I was a little closer to the Brazil team than even I normally would be, as I have a family member on the team. But I went into the tournament thinking Brazil was the best team. Fine, right? But you could have convinced me that France was as good, or Belgium was as good, or Spain was as good, or Germany was as good. I didn't think it was head and shoulders, right? We proceeded to win 2 out of the 3 group stage games, but all 3 of the games we dominated. Crazy outshot the teams. And then anytime we had Marcelo, Coutinho, and Neymar all on that same left side, no one could deal with them. They were going to get chances on everybody. But Neymar had to do Neymar stuff, which I love the man. He scores at a higher rate for Brazil than Ronaldo does for Portugal, or Messi does for Argentina, or Lukaku does for Belgium. And it was funny as they were talking at tournament, like when Lukaku scored a goal and he had like 40 in 75 games or something. And he's like, he's tied percentage-wise with Cristiano Ronaldo. Is he becoming the best? And it's like, y'all know Neymar's like 57 for 80, right? Like, that man scores a ton of goals. So it's like, yeah, you can be upset or whatever, but that man scores goals. And he does. So, like, you know what? Those are antics that I don't love, but you know what? It doesn't bother me that much because it happens in many cultures. So that was the story coming up to that, but we were the better team. And then I saw Belgium play in the group stage. I'm like, damn, Belgium might actually be better than us. Or they have things that would worry me from a what their strengths are perspective.
They basically solidified their legitimacy.
They legitimately had all the talent in the world, right? And they have a manager that sucks. So, like, their manager is garbage. He had probably the most talent Everton's ever had. They decided to give to him, and they were garbage, right? They had a wonderfully talented team, and he fucked it up, right? Then he goes on TV and lets you know how great of a manager he is and tricks people. And then he comes out and he plays 3 slow center backs. He doesn't even, like, Chadley and Mounier are the only 2 wing backs on the team. Both of them are right-footed. Neither of them is very good. And they're the only ones you bring to the tournament, which means you couldn't go to a back 4 actually for real if you wanted to and play well. You have to play Vertonghen at left back. Like, actually, when I'm picking a team, let's not have a winger on the team. Because Mounier is also like 6'3" and not particularly fast or offensive. So he has to play with a back 3, and he thinks... And he's the kind of manager who plays with a back 3 so that he wins in a way where you wouldn't expect, so that he gets credit. Like, there are managers like this in every sport, where I do a different strategy, not because I think it's the best, but because you know that I think it's different and unique to the point where I get as much credit as the players do. That's the kind of manager he is. So, that's why they almost lost to Japan, by the way, when there's really no excuse for a team with Kevin De Bruyne and Lukaku and Eden Hazard to be anywhere in the same universe as the Japan team. Mm-hmm. Unless you play in a way where you have no, basically starting from your 2 center midfielders back to your defense and your wings, you have no athleticism to speak of. So then anyone with athleticism can outrun you and run by you and get out in your flanks and expose your people and get open spaces and have good scoring opportunities. And they found a way against Belgium to overcome that because they were taller and they got headers in. I mean, over Japan. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, I'm still afraid of their talent, but their manager is going to hold them back. He's terrible. Then the game starts, and he decides, I'm going to have slow center backs again, but I'm going to play, like, I don't know, a slow, powerful team against them, and we're going to counterattack and let everyone know that he's playing Lukaku on the wing because we're going to counterattack, and that's what's going to create the counterattacks.
Yeah.
And then they proceed to get killed, but win on an own goal and 1 good counterattack. And that counterattack had nothing to do with him putting Lukaku on the wing, because it was off a corner, and it went up the middle. And the pass that went from Lukaku was actually a tackle from Paulinho that went to Kevin De Bruyne, which apparently no one wanted to talk about, but Paulinho slid, hit the ball from Lukaku, and it went to Kevin De Bruyne. And then Kevin De Bruyne does what he does. They have the talent to beat Brazil. Their manager actively put them in bad places to lose games, but in a way to where if they won, he was going to get the credit. Then the game starts, and Brazil hits the post to start. They miss their chance, and that's how soccer goes. Corner on the other side to the front post, just like Brazil did off a flick. But they flicked it, went off our player's arm, and it went in. And you just can't give up chances like that and win when the other team has as much talent as Belgium does. And that's what I thought, in the game. And then they had that really awesome counterattack off a corner, which once again has nothing to do with their manager. And it was finished with a brilliant shot from Kevin De Bruyne because he's possibly the best midfielder on the planet, right?
Yeah.
But as far as chances created, does anyone remember any dangerous stuff that happened outside of those 2? I think they had one other break where they missed the net on a shot. But everyone's talking about Lukaku on the wing because he's going to expose Marcelo. Marcelo doesn't play out there. The center back went out with him. And then when they would clear it up, it was a mano-a-mano brawl match, and then it basically didn't end up in good counterattacks. Brazil just went ahead and adjusted and moved their center back out there because it's not that big of a deal. And they spent the entire second half, 27 shots, 10 on goal. 2 penalties that I think 2 penalties should have been called. At least one everyone agrees should have been called. And then we missed the Coutinho chance in the box that he missed the net from like 6 yards out. And if any of those go in or the own goal doesn't go in, like I went into that game thinking they had a chance to be better and left the game thinking we're twice as good as that team. And that's the part that sucks in the pettiness is you go into a game knowing they have talent, but you walk out and saying, oh, they were much better than Belgium. And damn it, this was a generation that really could have won the World Cup. And I think could have beat France. Before I was emotional, after the game, even after a loss, I was like, oh no, logically, damn it. Because the next World Cup, Coutinho's 30, Neymar's 30. Starts to get towards the end of your superpowers when you're 30 and you're playing soccer and you're a speed winger type of player. And Casemiro's older. Willian is already 29. Like, there's always new Brazilians coming. But when you know afterwards that there was a generation that was World Cup winning talent, which Brazil happens every other World Cup. So it's not like there isn't going to be another one, right? But that isn't arrogance. That just happens, right? Like, they've made every quarterfinal for the last, 6, 7 World Cups and made the semifinals on a couple and won one, right? They just go that far. Like, Spain has that. France has that. Like, there are certain teams that every other generation is going to be good. So they'll be back, but it just sucks because, oh man, how many prime players did we have that are top in the world at their position right now? And the problem is I don't know of any good center backs coming up because Thiago Silva and Varane are both older. And that's the part I'm worried about for the next World Cup. And then personally, I'm worried that, damn it, was this the one chance for Coutinho to win the World Cup? So I hope not. But when you're 5'6" and your speed, you basically can't have any major injuries. And if he doesn't, I think he's still one of the best players in the world. But damn it just sucks. That they're 26. 26 is prime. That's when your best players are 26. They've had enough experience to know how to get things done. They still have 100% of their athletic ability. But Brazil's going to be good. I'm really angry and petty that after the game, I hear all the Roberto Martinez that he's a genius. So he makes sure he knows what he's doing media-wise. Make sure that they all knew what his plan was before the game.
Well, you got to remember too. Roberto Martinez was part of the media.
It's true. Right? He worked for was he ESPN or he worked for ESPN in the last World Cup, right?
Yeah. And I think he did Fox during the Premier League season.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So he was one of them, and I remember when I heard he got the Belgian job, I was kind of confused because I was like, this team is on the rise. You need a pragmatic manager who's won something besides the football championship in England. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, he was part of what helped get Wigan to the Premier League, but that's his only accomplishment as a manager. And they gave they gave him the good keys to the final chance for their golden generation, I think. Because I think, Hazard's 28, De Bruyne is 28 or 29. Lukaku will still be there for the next World Cup. Yeah. But, I don't know. Is a 32 or 33-year-old... Yeah, that's the thing. They're the So I'm worried about Brazil's next World Cup, but they were all that age. Well, not they. De Bruyne, Hazard, and Courtois really was the difference in the game. I do want to come back to Courtois afterwards, because all that aside, that man is the best keeper in the world, and he showed it. He just did. But they've got a lot of great players that are late 20s, not mid-20s, and that's going to be tough for the next one. Because I think that happened to the Netherlands, right? They had their golden generation.
Yep.
They had 2 World Cups where they were close to favorites. They weren't able to close the deal. They went far, and then they missed it this time because they're in between generations, right? Certain countries, you're in between generations like Brazil and France. Although France did make it to the group stage one time. And even Argentina, I think, but man, they need to get their organization. They have the talent. They need to get whatever the politics and stuff that's weird about Argentina.
There's a lot of young talent in Argentina.
There is. And they usually are like that. We're
showcasing.
Yeah, but countries like Croatia or Belgium or those other countries with smaller populations, your golden generation can get you far, but when they're not there, you may not even make the World Cup, right?
Exactly.
And there's tons of talent coming out of Belgium still, so I don't think they'll drop that far. But this is tough because they know that was probably their best chance.
Yeah.
For at least a couple of World Cups.
I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think a lot of it came down to just executing. And the one problem I've had with this Brazil team is that they a lot of times get into their own heads, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and they want to be a certain way, right? Like
Yeah.
they want to be and they want to perform a certain way
Yeah.
so that they can be the team that plays a beautiful game. But
Yeah.
part of that the issue is sometimes you just need grit. And this has been a gritty team, but when they try to play a certain way, they get out of their their rhythm, and they end up essentially for all intents and purposes, they essentially just end up playing in a way that doesn't make sense. So,
well, to me, the thing that made the least sense was not playing Firmino over. Well, I might have actually played Jesus on the wing and not Willian, and played Firmino to start in the center, just because Belgium has a power defense. And I feel the way you're talking about, honestly, about the group stage games, I don't feel that way about the game versus Belgium. I just think they created all kinds of chances, especially the second half, especially with Firmino in the game.
Oh, absolutely. But I think
the group stage games, that totally happened. I mean, they needed a 93rd minute goal to beat Costa Rica, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they absolutely did that in the group stages.
Yeah,
it was a lot of like, what kind of chances are we creating, but are we finishing them? And is it the right striker up top to finish these chances, right? And and if it was Firmino up there, I think they probably beat Belgium. But, like, it's still an own goal, man. Like, it's so hard to make up an own goal when you're playing legitimately other good team. But, like, in the previous games, that criticism is totally on point, where it's like, what kind of goals are we trying to score? For the first, 80 minutes, when we're playing an inferior opponent, are we trying to score a goal everyone's going to be proud of, right?
Yeah.
And they can still be the best team in the world with that in mind, because they do that in other games and they score those goals, right? But, that's a tough mentality when they aren't going in, right? And then they'll find a way to score at the end most of the time. But that can be a criticism of a team that has talent like that, where it's like, we're playing through in this way. And then honestly, we're down to our third choice right back, hurt Marcelo, and we're without Casemiro. Casemiro is every bit as good as Conte. It's like him and Conte are the two best holding midfielders on the planet. And it was such a stupid yellow card to get against Mexico. We didn't need that. And he's out. He's got to know he's going to be out for the next game. He's got to know it's going to be Belgium. And Fernandinho's awesome, right? I mean, he does the job for Manchester City, right?
Quite well.
But, boy, he's because his size. He comes with size as well as being a holding midfielder. That really helps that they missed in that game. Where, he's no nonsense. He's gritty, right? And he can still help them play out the back, but still has enough athleticism just to break up counterattacks. It's just that yellow, man. That yellow against Mexico. Fuck.
Yep. And that's where my frustration with where my frustration with teams who end up playing dirty to try to win.
Yeah.
It ends up putting Uruguay, Mexico, Colombia are all guilty of this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it ended up it legitimately put those teams that beat them in a worse position in the subsequent round.
Yeah.
And in some instances, those teams were able to overcome it and move on without any hitch. But the fact that that you play a role in a way where your impact is negative, and when I mean that, it's not like, look, if you score a goal and that's the reason why a team doesn't advance, that's whatever, right? But don't fucking put a team in foul trouble, because now they have to show that they're not just gonna let you kick the shit out of them, like physically kick the shit out of them, or they're not gonna let you just foul them, or they're gonna stand up for a hard foul that you give against one of their teammates. You know, that's bullshit, and that's why those sort of teams frustrated me. And of course, it really only happens in the magnitude the magnitude that it does in the knockout rounds. In the group stage, people are a little bit more accepting of look, this is there are other factors.
And it's you got to be smart, right? Like, if you're winning the game, right, especially if you're winning it comfortably, and you have a yellow, try to help in another way, but don't take a yellow like that, right? So it's but the teams that do it when they're trying to claw back to win and they're doing whatever it takes in the World Cup and maybe play a little dirty or whatever, like I can both say it's a bad thing and you shouldn't do it. But if I'm that person, I've got most players have one World Cup that they have a shot at. Elite players have 2, all-time greats have 3, sometimes 4, right?
Yeah.
But usually, like, you get one chance at this, right?
Yeah.
If you're on just a regular team and you're a good enough player to make your national team, but you're not one of the stars, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what? Just after it's like, yeah, I it's bad, and in the moment I'll be mad at him, but afterwards it's like you were losing. All that emotion's there. So like when teams are winning and you're not smart, right? And you're winning and you're not smart, and you take bad cards. Like, damn it! Like, you know, it's tough, right? I know they want a bunch of persistent yellows not happening, right? They don't want people to get yellows every game, but like, there's a part of me that doesn't like at a professional level like this that like 2 yellows, the one you got in the group stages and one that you got in a knockout game makes you miss a knockout game, right?
Yeah.
It does seem like the yellows should be confined to the group stage games, and if you get 2 in the group stages and you're out for a knockout game, like you knew that was coming, right? But like you get a yellow in the first game of the group stages, and then you're fine the next 2 games, and then you get a yellow in the first knockout stage or in the second knockout stage game, right? Yeah. Then you miss the next game. So, like, you could get a yellow in the first game and then a yellow in the second knockout stage game, and you miss the semifinal to go to a World Cup. Like, it just feels wrong, right?
Yeah.
Because you actually didn't get a yellow you could not get a yellow for 3 games and have been a model citizen. And then, like, something happened, because you can get yellows that are, like, completely innocent, where it's like you got behind a guy and you stuck your arm out and you kind of grabbed his jersey, but, like, it's almost you're not thinking, right? It's just what you do, right? And then it's a yellow, and then all of a sudden you miss the most important game of your life. Like, that's so harsh.
I forget who it was, but like I saw a yellow that like the guys in the office were arguing that shouldn't be a yellow. I'm like, well, yeah, it should be. And it was simply a player is trying to close in on another player. The player that's being closed in on tries to create space and essentially block off the defender by using their arm to push that player back. Yeah. Which happens all the time.
Right.
But in the process, they end up going a little high, and you can tell it's incidental. There's no malicious intent for it, and he ends up hitting the player in the face.
Yeah.
So the referee gives him a yellow. That's one of those yellows that like no one's ever going to go, oh yeah, that player deserved to not
just the
play.
Hand happened to move or something. Yeah, it's
exactly. But at the same time, there's also the fact that we know that if there isn't that, you're going to have fucking center backs just fucking laying waste. Yeah. Like that extra yellow card actually does sort of like if you use that sort of methodology, I should say. Yeah. That extra yellow card could be like that like Thor's hammer coming down. Like it will have a huge impact. So
and then and that's the only reason people say that shouldn't be a yellow, because a lot of people say, oh, there shouldn't be a yellow, because like it should be a yellow. But I mean, it's minutia, may not be the most entertaining, but it is like, oh man, a yellow like is going to make you miss the most important game of your life, right? So then it's like, oh, that shouldn't be a yellow, because like sometimes I was going to say, because damn, that person's going to miss the next game, and they didn't really do anything that's out of the ordinary, right? I do want to say, you at least agree with me that the PK where Company like slides 2 feet into Gabriel Jesus in the box is like a PK, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone thinks they have replay. They spent all the time on replay. I don't know what they were looking at.
That's what confused me.
They didn't even ask the ref to go look at it again himself, which they can do if they don't feel like making the decision. But they're like, dude, I think you should look at this again. They can at least tell him to do that, and it didn't happen.
The one thing you and I have sort of agreed on as well is that Dr. Joe Magnate
that guy's the worst.
Is the dumpster fire of the tournament.
He's awful.
But even he was like, why would he just not look at it?
Yeah. Well, first he's like, that's obviously a penalty, and so did everyone else. It was even studs up. Like, that's a yellow card in the center of the field. It's not even like, oh, it's a touch foul.
Yeah.
Full on slide, studs up into his ankle is a red card. Sometimes, a yellow card. Sometimes a red card.
But at the minimum, a penalty.
At the minimum. Yeah, and it didn't get called, and it's just like, what the hell's going on?
I think I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think he said something. Somebody's like, Dr. Joe, what's going on? He goes, I have no idea.
Yeah, I got no answers for you.
So,
let's give Roberto Martinez credit for that, though. I'm still really petty about all the credit they're giving to fucking Roberto Martinez. He's awful.
Actually, awful. let's go to the semifinals.
Yeah, let's go to the semifinals.
Talk about how well he did there.
By the way, I do want to say I'm proud of myself for not using much cursing. I feel like my pettiness, I was able to hold my pettiness in check. If for all of you think I was super petty, you should have seen me the day after the game. If you thought that was petty, that wasn't petty.
Okay. Before
now
you
we
give
can
yourself
move on. I just want to say I'm proud of myself.
a pat on the back.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you aren't being as petty as you normally would be.
Right.
And that's purely because you took it out against
I did.
before you in soccer.
I did. I had a good soccer game this week. I destroyed people. I made people look silly. It was good. I literally had a no look goal this week. It was good. Didn't even look the goal when I did.
As any true Brazilian should, they should have at least one no look goal.
I told my teammates I was either going to get a red card or I was going to score some goals. I didn't know which one it was going to be, but it was going to be one of them.
I've played games with you like that, and I just go, all right. and to your credit, more often than not, it ends up being
more often than not, because I'm also 5'6" and 180 pounds, but it's not muscle. Let's just put it that way.
It's heart.
Hey, it was 210 before, so
exactly. It's nothing but heart, though.
It's heart, and beach soccer foot skills. But it generally isn't a red.
Yeah. So with that said, Roberto Martinez's side, they didn't look that great. No, actually, let's be honest. The game,
I thought they played okay. I thought they played okay.
I'm going to say this. The France-Belgium game was a snooze fest and a half.
It was. It was very boring.
There was, the game itself wasn't really that bad. So Fox, what they do online, they have this 90 and 90 where they basically, in 90 seconds, they show clips of the entire 90-minute game. And obviously, they only are going to show highlights. And I remember watching it, and I'm like, what are they going to show in this? They spend so much time showing them singing the national anthems.
Dude, it's 30 seconds at national anthem. Another 30 seconds is celebration afterwards. But, honestly, I'd spend a minute and a half just on the Mbappe pass that wasn't a goal. That whole 90 minutes was worth that pass he did. And then the shot guy got blocked. But damn it, if that wasn't just the most exquisite chef's kiss. I wish that man was Brazilian pass. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I will watch this snooze fest for 90 minutes for one moment where a guy just, his brain is in a different spectrum. No one else is thinking like that. Does a slow roll. He could have backheeled it on the first touch, but he knew the defender was going to block it, and he's not even looking that way. He has to slow roll it to his left foot, his weaker foot, and backheel with that foot. And it was just, the whole crowd is takes a deep breath in, those moments. So while the game wasn't the best, and Belgium turned more petty than even I did after the game.
They did.
That moment, that isn't even the moment where there was a goal, but those are moments that only happen in soccer, where it's it's why look, it's only 2 hours, even if it's boring. You spent an hour and a half watching something. That's 3 episodes of a thing you've been binge watching. It's not a huge commitment.
No.
Even in those games, when they're elite players, there'll be some touch or something where their thought process. It's like a freaking jazz musician hitting a note or something. And it doesn't even have to end in a goal. And as people watch it more, it's just that moment is what I remember from that game. I honestly barely remember what the France goal looked like. Was it a set piece header?
No,
it was another set piece header.
MTT getting that header.
That's right. It was the MTT corner. That's right. But I thought France made some dangerous chances. I thought Belgium actually had some dangerous chances. They just couldn't get them on net.
That's actually what I was going to say. Yeah. That Belgium looked quote unquote bad, but only because Lloris made them look like that.
Lloris, and then Yeah, he's had a great tournament.
He had a spectacular game. I don't. Belgium had 3 shots on target, but those there was one shot that was like, okay, this is just like even I could stop that if I was in between the sticks. But like Lloris positioned himself extremely well that game and made it so that they didn't really get a lot of opportunities to really open it up, and so a lot of credit goes to him too. But this was just one of those games where, but this is the thing, right? If Lloris does his job well, then it turns into a boring game. If he doesn't, now the excitement comes in. So there's that. But
I thought France had good, exciting chances. I thought Mbappe showed his quality in the game. But France can play that way because, one, they've got 3 great holding midfielders who can all attack. Not all quite as the quality as Pogba can. But they're all tall, right? So Pogba I think he's taller than Fellaini. So bringing on a tall center midfielder to help you in crosses does not work against France, because they have all the size that they would need, right? Even their right back, the one that scored that beauty of a goal, he's actually a center back for a team in Germany, but he's got the pace to go forward, right?
Yeah.
So they have height and power, and they have Giroud to help defend corners and stuff too. So Belgium couldn't win on size and power on crosses, right? And Hazard actually played an awesome game, I thought, getting through people. But France just has they have so much talent that they could play the way Brazil plays, but they also have so much high quality defending talent that's athletic that they can play the way they play, where it's look, man, I don't care if you think it's boring, you're not going to be able to score on us, and you'll get one chance. You better make it. You'll get one chance, right? And Lloris is you're not going to make that chance, because I mean, in that game too, it was a low header to the corner where it goes in almost all the time, and he finds a way to get there. He's really good, and I hate him because he's Tottenham, but damn it, he's good.
I know, right?
I hate him only for that reason. But I'm happy they lost. Do you have anything else, at least about the game? I do know after the game. I want to talk about the after the game Belgium, which it made my heart feel good. But
we can definitely talk about that.
So after the game, well, okay, first of all, De Bruyne is a brilliant player, and he's a class act. So he's not part of this. He was they played in a way where they played defensively, they executed the game plan, and they beat us. And I play for Man City, and I watch teams do that to us, and it's not easy to do. And they were able to accomplish a good game plan. So he was good about it, right? Hazard and Courtois and a couple of people were I think one of them, I don't know which one it was, said, I would have rather have lost to Brazil because they at least tried to play football against us. And I'm like, motherfucker, we didn't try to play football against you. We beat the hell out of you. You just won on an own goal. But they actually were the team driving some play, but they weren't. France did to them what people after the game said they did to Brazil, which they didn't, right? Mm-hmm. Brazil had 26 shots. Brazil had possession in dangerous places. And they had the ball 65% of the time or whatever, right? Well, Belgium had the ball 65% of the time, was able to put 3 shots on target and 9 total shots the whole game, right? Brazil had 27 shots and 60% possession, right? Yeah. It's way different. Whereas one team, Belgium attempted to execute the plan against Brazil that France executed against them, but there was an own goal and they won, right? But it was just funny to hear them be petty in that loss. But, a lot of it is, they probably know that was their big chance to win a World Cup, and you say weird things after the game, right? But people after the game needed to, understand this is what it looks like when a team executes that strategy, and the other game is what it looks like when a team doesn't execute it, but the ball just happens to not go in, right? Because they can both have a 1-0 or 2-1 scoreline, but France, actually executes those game plans, and good luck, man, because they don't give you chances. They give you one. And good luck to Croatia, and we can talk about that game next, but Croatia's really talented, talented.
Yeah, let's actually switch over there.
Let's do it.
So in the other side of the bracket, in the semi, we had England and Croatia. Who England, singing in the streets about football coming home and whatnot, which I'll debate with for that. But because apparently football moved a long time ago and they remodeled it. But but nonetheless, a lot of people thought Croatia going into that game was not going to be able to play to the magnitude that they had played in games before. They had successive matches in penalties.
Oh yeah,
and that is
and their best players didn't get subbed out.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure Mandzukic, Rakitic,
Mandzukic
was barely able to walk at the end of the last game, and he still played all 120 minutes. This game he got subbed out in the last couple minutes because he literally could not stand anymore.
Yeah, he literally couldn't stand.
Yeah,
and so it at first you got to admit, Trippier getting the
it was a nice goal.
Getting that goal, which by the way was gorgeous.
Nice. It was
getting
nice.
That gorgeous goal. Obviously made your butthole tighten up a little bit if you're a Croatian fan, right? You're looking at this, you're going, oh God, they're doing this now.
And they scored a goal early, and they've got, they're solid. I think this England team has a lot of defensive talent,
I agree. But I think what screwed England is they went with, in my opinion, a defensive lineup that didn't necessarily put them in a place to just stomp on the neck of Croatia, right? They pretty much went with a lineup that was going to be good at maintaining the status quo, and so it looked like a genius move having it lead with in the first 5 minutes of the game. Like, oh man, this is brilliant that we did this, but. You had Ashley Young looking tired as shit in the midfield. Kyle Walker, normally he's good, but he's been playing so many minutes that he didn't look that great. I would have put in somebody like Trent Alexander-Arnold.
At a wings position?
Yeah, like he plays out there all the time. He can play center back and out on the side, and he normally plays on the side. But like the thing is what England was trying to do that whole game is it kept trying to push up, and anytime they get it back, they would immediately try to push it back to the opposite side of the field. But Kyle Walker at that point was so tired that like the pace and Ashley Young as well. The pace was just too much for him. And they ended up putting Marcus Rashford in up top, and that helped a little bit because Raheem Sterling, again, tired.
I thought he played well when he was in. The first 60 minutes of the game, I thought he played well, but he was tired when they took him in.
No. I'm not saying he played bad. I'm saying
he did Raheem Sterling things where it means he didn't finish. But
exactly. And then they waited so long to put Eric Dyer in.
I thought it was weird that they put Dyer in for Henderson as opposed to changing the shape.
That's what I thought
play
too.
Two holding midfielders in front of that back three.
I even at first I was like, are they doing this for penalties? I go, wait,
but they took Henderson out.
But I was like, Henderson's the kicker. No.
Yeah.
I go, this is just dumb.
Like who do they take out to put? Did they take Ashley Young out to put in Dyer? Who do they bring Dyer in?
They took out
for?
Ashley Young, which was necessary.
Ashley
Young, but at the same time, they put Danny Rose in for Henderson.
Oh, that's what it was. So yeah, but they could have taken out Lingard. Well, maybe you want to keep Lingard for penalty, but they could have taken out Lingard or Ali as opposed to Ashley Young. And Ashley Young was tired. Yeah. You could have had three. You could have had three holding midfielders in there, but they were still 1-1 with 10 minutes left to go to get a penalty.
Well, and I think they were thinking about going to penalties and
Is it weird that I was emotionally cheering for England like they were an underdog when they were playing against a team that has 4 million people in their country?
I thought the same thing.
But I was cheering for England, in an emotional way because I watch the EPL and I know so many of these players and I know how much they care and I know how much they get in their own way. They have so much talent.
I'm going to tell you this. I don't
know why. It makes no sense to me that I was doing that though.
I thought England was the underdog.
Yeah.
I was not rooting for them though. I was rooting for Croatia.
I'm saying I was rooting for them.
Yeah, but let me explain to you why I was rooting for Croatia.
Okay.
I want Lovren to win a World Cup.
I should have known.
It'll be the most hilarious thing in the world to have Lovren play in the fucking EPL and be one of the few EPLers to have a fucking World Cup. It'll be hilarious. First of all, Lovren has played amazing this tournament.
Dude, he had a fucking chip on his shoulder in this game. He was fucking, he was dude, at one point, like I think around the 6 minutes, I was like, dude, don't get a red card. Like they don't have another. I don't think there's another Croatian big, strong defensive center back they can go to. Like,
well, not off the bench, no.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, Vida, his center back partner, Liverpool are fucking talking about signing him now, which makes me worry because I'm like, no, we have Van Dijk.
I didn't think that guy was very good. I thought he was okay. I think
he was okay. Unless they want to back up to Lovren.
Yeah.
No, we don't like. No, I don't want to see those two dummies on the field against fucking Real Madrid or something like that. That just no. I like Van Dijk. Obviously, he's gonna always be starting because he's making all the money and he's good
and he's good. Yeah.
This Croatian team played with so much fucking heart, and you could tell that like as the game got further and further in, England looked more and more desperate, and I was sitting there, I'm going like, y'all are going to open up something that you're not going to be ready for, and it's going to be too late. And sure enough, that's exactly what happens with that Mandzukic goal, which, by the way, the Mandzukic goal. My God.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where he's more alert than the defender, and you beat him to the ball, and you just got to be ready, right? He's always ready. He's a good player, man. He's a really good player.
He is. Well, well, okay. Let's talk about all the goals from this game were really good fucking goals.
Yeah.
Like they were really good fucking goals. The Trippier one was like instantly you hear people talking about goal of the season, which like I think is an overused term, but like in that instant I was like, maybe.
Well, just sometimes it's a like
situational.
It's situational, and I buy into that. Like scoring an above average goal in a super important situation is better than scoring a worldy when you're down 3-1 in a group stage game, right? Like
I agree.
Yeah.
And the placement on it was prime. Yeah. Like it like I think the keeper could have possibly put himself in a better position, but like where that ball was placed, he couldn't be anywhere else, right? Like it was it was literally at the top of the box center. And so like he had to play in a spot that like he didn't get exposed one way or another, but the problem is like it's kind of like it's kind of like that position was good for everything but great for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But then the Perisic goal, was it Perisic that scored the first goal?
Yeah, it was Perisic.
Yeah. Which, by the way, it could have gone terribly wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It could have gone terribly wrong. You have fucking Kyle Walker diving to head it out, which, by the way, it wouldn't have been Perisic's fault if he kicked him in the face because he's diving. Like, that's...
Yeah.
It is. But, like, Perisic still gets his foot in a place where not only does he get really good contact on the ball, he gets really good contact on the ball to get it to the spot that he needs it to be in, and he gets really good kick on the ball in a spot where it needed to be while not kicking Kyle Walker in the head.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. And then Mandzukic, in the, what was it? It was in the 109th minute?
Yeah. 109th minute, man. Can I bring up one other thing? Why England didn't make the World Cup final, right?
Why's that?
They really needed someone in there who can take the ball, relieve some pressure, play small little quick linking plays in the midfield, help them keep the ball.
Oh, God, I know what you're going.
You know where I'm going, and I'm right. I'm right. You would rather have Ashley Young in there, really? You'd rather have Ashley Young in there than Jack Wilshere. Are you fucking serious? Ashley Young plays left back for Manchester United, and you're trusting him in the middle of the park? Dele Alli apparently is shit now. Remember when he was really good? Did he look good to you in this tournament? No, he didn't. He was garbage.
No, he looked terrible.
Did you really want him in there trying to win balls back in the center of the park and then keeping possession and linking the play up? Do you think they could have used a little possession in the center of the park? I'm just asking. I mean, you didn't even have to have him start. You could have had. I mean, let's look at that roster real quick. Let's see. I mean, who could have been? Just. I mean, who's in the lineup? Like, you just have him on the bench for a situation like that. Who like you really needed Fabian Delph?
What about Phil Jones?
You really needed Danny Welbeck on. If you didn't want too many Arsenal guys, you could have just not had Danny Welbeck on the fucking team. Did you really need Danny Welbeck?
What about Phil Jones?
I mean, you want to keep backup center backs if people get hurt. I'm cool with that, right? I'm just saying, like, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, like, is he
They're
actually
going three
good?
in the back, though. They're going three in the back.
They're going three in the back. Oh, actually, they're playing. I thought it was actually interesting three in the back with one of them being Kyle Walker. I was actually kind of interested. I thought that was actually kind of good, right? Because you have one guy with a ton of pace in case they try to play behind you. By the way, I'd like to pay all the money for Harry Maguire. That guy's fucking awesome.
He is good.
Yeah,
and
proper brave on the header.
I think.
But seriously, are you really disagreeing with me? They really needed, like, they have Jesse Lingard playing center mid and Ashley Young playing center mid, and it's just like, and Jordan Henderson all by himself.
Yep.
Like, and Eric Dyer's a center back who plays defensive mid, like, just on the bench as an option, right?
Yep.
It really, I think that would have been the difference in this game if he'd have come on in the 75th minute, you're keeping the ball, and then in extra time you have someone to just help relieve pressure as Modric and Rakitic are fucking annihilating you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a joke, but it's true.
They were chewing them up.
Yeah.
So
remember when England had all the center midfielders? All of them?
They did. That was their problem. They had all the center
all of them, and they couldn't play with each other. They had freaking Hargreaves, Carrick, Gerrard, Lampard, Beckham.
Yeah.
Fucking that team was it to the 2006 team of England should have really been like.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, but now that we're done with that,
we got a final.
We got France. We got Croatia.
Who you got?
Pedro.
Who do I got? Who do you got?
Who you got?
I've got France. Like, France is fucking great. They have every single type of player you would want to have. They can play any kind of way you want. And they've got a great keeper. They've got the center back from Real Madrid playing next to the center back from fucking Barcelona. I mean, they're right next to each other. You've got Pogba, Kante, and fucking Matuidi. If you didn't want to play Giroud up top, he might be their worst player, right? They could play fucking the guy Barcelona paid $100 million for, who isn't even playing regularly, Dembele. You got Griezmann and Mbappe. Like, they are complete. They are a badass team. Emotionally, it'd be really cool if Croatia won, but I've got France, man.
All right, so
who do you got?
I had in my bracket. I had France getting to this point.
Well, I didn't, but I had them getting to this point before.
I had them losing to Argentina. That worked out.
That worked out great.
But I had them getting to the finals.
Yeah.
With that said, this Croatian team has been counted out at numerous stages, and they have shown nothing but class and heart and grit. And I think this is going to be, first of all, let me just say this. I think this is going to probably be one of the most entertaining games of the tournament, because they are two different styles of play that aren't necessarily conflicting in a way that, like, it's one team is going to overpower the other. I think it's going to be a pretty close game.
Mm-hmm.
The one concern I have for Croatia is how tired are they going to be. They've played extra time in the last 3 matches.
Yeah.
And I think from a mental standpoint, they're probably in a much better place than France from the standpoint of, if they go down, they're not worried about it because they've been there and they've done that, right?
Yeah.
And they've shown that they can come back from a deficit. If they get a lead and France comes back, they've shown that, okay, we can hold them here, right? So I think and France, to be fair, they've almost always had a lead throughout this tournament, right?
Yeah.
So I think it all comes down to how fresh the legs are for the Croatian players. I told somebody, if Croatia, after that game against England, immediately went into a hyperbaric chamber and pulled a LeBron and basically just like stayed in there until literally like Thursday night, got out, and like just somebody feeds you, you only get out to shit and eat. Like literally you just stay in there and just get your body back in like a condition to play, then I think they could win.
I think they can. Like, they've got talent to win the game.
It's just it's going to come down to
France has been so suffocating defensively.
Yeah, I honestly think it comes down to this. I think if they can win in regulation, that's the only way they're going to win. I don't think they pull it out if it goes into extra time. I think they don't have it in their legs. But then again, I don't know what France is going to do in extra time either, because they've been such a convincingly better team that maybe France gets into their own head and they start playing a style of football, and that's when that they don't normally play, and that's when Croatia takes advantage. So I think my gut says France, my heart says Croatia. I think that's how I'm going to sort of make my pick. I'm going to go with my gut.
Yeah.
But
hey,
but my heart.
This World Cup has been about going with your gut. Like, I ain't mad at that.
Yeah. But at the same time, this is just, I think it's going to be, so the very first game of the tournament, or not first game, the very first game of the tournament was what? It was Russia versus, Saudi Arabia or something, right? Yeah. But the second game of the tournament was Spain Portugal, and that game was everything, right? Like, it had, and it's hard to think back because it's been such a long time ago, but that game was actually really fucking entertaining. I think we're gonna get that in this game. Not the scoring necessarily, but the back and forth is going to be like an old school boxing match, where it feels like there's going to be an ebb and a flow,
Yeah.
This game is worth me waking up early for. The game today with which we didn't even talk about.
There's no reason to.
But I'm not even going to say who won. I don't care, right? Like, that game, neither one of those teams wanted to be there. And
I have it recorded. I may watch it. But, like, that's only because I'm bored.
I'm not even.
And I have two TVs going at the same time. Yeah.
I'll tell you this much. I looked at the photo that they took for being a third place team.
Yeah.
And everybody's just, and it looks like a school picture. Where like people, you got some people looking at the camera, some people looking at each other. Like, it's just like it looks like, oh, yeah, we're here. So, but yeah, this game tomorrow is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, I got nothing else. I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
All right. Well, I think we've talked to you assholes long enough.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, but like I said, we had a lot of soccer to get through.
We had a lot of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm going to go eat my burrito.
Yeah, I know.
You guys have a good fucking day.
So let's wrap this up. Mars, thanks for joining us, even though you're not here because your shit fucked up.
She was here in spirit.
But she's here in our heart, and we'll probably be back to recap the last game, of course.
Yeah, a quick one to recap.
Hopefully they give us a lot to talk about.
Maybe a quick little look ahead on what's coming up international soccer for people to care about too. Maybe like a little 30, 45 minute thing. Yeah, or maybe the final's so good we can spend an hour on it, which would be awesome.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that. So the big thing is definitely be looking forward out. Not forward out. That's not a phrase. Whatever. Definitely be looking forward to the next episode because I'm hoping they give us a lot to talk about.
That's true. Definitely.
But as always, thanks for listening. Twitter, Instagram, @thatonepod. Email is pod@gmail.com. Go to the show page, shows.pippa.com/thatonepodcast. And in the meantime, be nice to one another and enjoy some soccer. Bye, everybody.